Good afternoon. Yeah, now, what day is it today? It's Wednesday already. Wednesday. Um, Good afternoon, and welcome to my home. I'm on the terrace today, and it's beautiful Mediterranean in front of me, dark blue. The sky, blue, cloudless. Palm trees are swaying. It's paradise. But I'm not here to rub your nose, and I'm here to relate of a little thing that happened to me today. I was sitting in Guadalmina Centro. I was sort of having a little bit of a break before I picked up my client. I was having a coffee. And a gentleman came over, a very nice man came over, and he said, do you mind me asking? He was standing, I was sitting. Do you mind me asking you something? And I said, well, sit down. So he sat down. He said, I know you're Jewish because I follow you on your social media. I enjoy your talks. I find them very interesting. I said, well, thank you very much. I need to ask you a question. What's it like being a Jew today, living in Marbella or living anywhere? It must be pretty tough. I said, I've lived in Marbella a long time. Excuse me. I belong to the Jewish community in Marbella, the synagogue in Marbella and El Real, and the Chabad here in San Pedro. I attend the synagogue. I don't call myself a religious Jew, but I do call myself a believer in the Jewish faith. Then he said to me, how come I don't ever talk about being Jewish, especially at a time when this war is on? He said, what's your feelings about that? And I said, well, I'll express my feelings this evening when I record one of my at home and personal and let you know. Here are my feelings. First of all, living in Marbella, it's a very peaceful place. We have a wonderful closeness to the mosque and to the rabbi here. The imam is a great friend of the El Real synagogue, and they have been for years. There's a great lesson really here and a great example here in Marbella. Jews and Muslims, it doesn't seem, I haven't seen a parade, now, I'm not talking about Spain in general, I don't know, but I'm talking about Marbella. This is where I live, this is what I care about. I've seen one sign, scribbled sign, an amateurish bit of painted sign, small, very small, on a bridge going to Estepona, saying Free Palestine. And that was it. Now, I'm not saying, be careful what you say, that they won't be out parading tomorrow. Who knows? But my opinion of all these people that are parading are the same as they were when the Vietnamese War was on. A load of students saying, ban the bomb. That was it. I've seen so many of them being interviewed and being asked, what do you mean by from the river to the sea? I haven't got a clue. I mean, Free Palestine. What's this Free Palestine? Do you mean from the river to the sea, Israel? That's what that is. Are you talking about that should be cleared for the Palestinians? Is that what you're saying? And their always answer is, I don't know. Do you know where Gaza is? Yeah, next to Italy. I mean, these people haven't got a clue. Anyway, so I thought, well, okay, I'll give my opinion. At the moment, Israel is celebrating 3,000 years old and 76 years young. So happy birthday. But what about the war taking place right now? Let's go back to October the 6th. We're talking about the present war. Oh, they go the whole history, and they did this to us, and I did that to them, they did. Let's put that aside for the moment. I hear you saying, well, you can't. Well, I am. My broadcast. Let's go back to October the 6th. The October the 6th was a very peaceful day. There was a ceasefire. There was no trouble on that day between Israel and Gaza, the Palestinians. No trouble. Beautiful day. People are going about their work. People in Gaza were going about their work. Many Palestinians work in Israel. You must remember, the surrounding Arab countries of Gaza don't allow Palestinians entry. In fact, Egypt's got this huge wall. I mean, an enormous thing. Nothing like Israel. No, they can't get in. Palestine, not interested. Israel give them work, and the Palestinians go in every day, and they have work there. So it was a peaceful day, very peaceful, no problems, everybody was happy. But what they didn't know, what the Palestinians didn't know, and what the Israelis didn't know, and it could be questioned, and it will be questioned after the war, why didn't they know? After all, Mossad is meant to be one of the best secret services in the world. Okay, but we're not going to go into that now because no one has the answer to that at the moment. But no one knew, whether in Gaza or in Israel, that behind the dark doors they were planning Hamas, the Palestinian Hamas. They were voted in by the Palestinians to run Gaza. They were voting behind, or planning behind closed doors to attack Israel. Now, what was this attack about? Was it a military attack? Was it the idea to attack Israel military? Were Israel lobbing bombs into the Gaza that day? No. The plan was this. They knew, don't know how, that there was what's called a peace party, a party in the desert on the border of Gaza. I think, I don't know what, 200, 300 young Israelis, maybe some Arabs as well. Don't forget 1.6 million Arabs live in Israel, happily working. Some of them are in the government, some of them are in the police force, some of them are in the army. It's all peace at this time. But no, Hamas wanted to attack, but they didn't want to attack any military bases. They decided this party is a good idea. 260 innocent teenagers having a ball, having a great time, as teenagers do, some of them in their late teens, some in the early 20s. They came in, some of them in these hang glider things, some of them smashing a fence open. They came in with machine guns, and they videoed everything as they massacred the 260 that were there. Some of the girls they took and raped. There's actually a video that I've seen. I think that's on social media still. A lot of these videos are not seen on YouTube or anything because their families don't want to show films of their children being slaughtered. Some girls screaming as they tear and bring her off. They raped her. They shot her. They brought her into Gaza. They paraded her at the back of a van in Gaza where hundreds of Palestinians were throwing things at the naked body of this girl. She was German. You know, it was once asked, what's the difference between, how would one see the difference between Palestinians, Hamas and the Nazis? Well, it's now been it's no secret that the Nazis tried to hide their crimes. They were, in the end of the day, ashamed of what they did. Well, hold on a minute. Maybe they weren't. But they did try to hide their crimes once the war was coming to an end. The difference with Hamas is that they filmed everything on bod cams and whatever, and they put it up on their social media site, clapping it, applauding it. There's a member in one of the morgues, there was a woman, a mother with her baby, shielding her baby, and they burnt the two of them together, so they were stuck together. There was some of these terrible scenes being filmed. I know people say, no, it's not true. Fine, that's your opinion. I have my own opinion. They then went into the kibbutz, and people are having their breakfast, families, women and children. They slaughtered them, burnt some of them, beheaded. There was a soldier actually filmed being beheaded with a spade. I think that's also on YouTube. Maybe they've taken it down. They massacred them. There was no soldiers involved at the time. They got there quickly, etc., etc., and there were soldiers killed as well, Israeli soldiers killed as well. But what was this all about? Were they expecting to say, all right, here, you can have Israel, take the lot? What was it all about? Well, let me give you my opinion again. The big boys, Iran, 2 years prior to this, from what I understand, planned this. Iran's charter, like Hamas, is to destroy Israel and all Jews. That's in their charter. Destroy, and Hamas, the leader of the Palestinians, to destroy Israel and all Jews. That's written. No, that's it. So how do they go about this? I thought it was very clever. We'll attack on October the 7th, when there's peace on, with the Jewish holiday as well, we'll attack then. No one's expecting it. We'll kill as many as we can. I think it was 1,400, massacred them. We'll take 250 hostages sort of fodder for this war, so we can do some bargaining afterwards. Women, children, elderly women and children, Holocaust survivors, screaming they took them. So what was the plan? Well, I tell you, they knew, the world knew, everybody knew, and every country in the world knew that Israel had to respond. Couldn't have said, oh, that's fine. They knew the retaliation was there, and it was going to be big after the slaughter of 1,500 Israelis, the worst attack on Jewish people since the Holocaust. They knew this was going to be a big one. They knew Israel was going to come out in all its force. So what did they do? The Israelis stood back, I think it was for 2 weeks, before they went into Gaza. Now, as you know, in Gaza, there are tunnels there, 30 miles of tunnels, 30 miles of tunnels. I think there's more mileage of tunnels in Gaza than in the London Underground and the New York Underground. Just think of that. So one would think they have no air raid shelters. Hamas, for the Palestinians, have been receiving billions of dollars in aid every year in the years that they've been in power. 1995, was it? They took control? What's that? Whatever, 16, 18 years. Billions have poured. Where is that billions? In housing. It was for the people of Gaza, the Palestinians, the men, women and children. Where is it? Well, we know that the Hamas, there was a wonderful program on BBC, or one of them, that shows all the where a lot of the money is, a lot of the investments by these leaders of Hamas. Where are they? Oh, they're in Qatar, living very comfortably, a rich life. There was some photographs of them on private jets laughing. So these Hamas terrorists, they're young people. They're just ideology crazy, whatever, guided by the big boys, and bigger than that, Iran. So they knew Israel would respond, and very heavily. By knowing this, and they're the leaders of the Palestinians, the Hamas, they're there to protect them. Why didn't they allow them to shelter in the tunnels? Women and children at least. There's enough room. Thousands would still be alive today. Why didn't they allow that? Why did they allow them to be vulnerable? Think about it. They needed to show the world very quickly after, they wanted to get October 7th over as quick as possible and get the world to turn away from that and turn on Israel. And that was a simple task. They took children and held up dead bodies and saying, look what Israel is doing. Look what they're doing. Why weren't those children in the tunnels taking shelter while Israel hunted out Hamas? Why? Where did all the rockets come from? Where did all the missiles come from? Then they talk about the death toll. Now, today, I think it was, the UN said that the death toll is, yes, possibly, don't forget where the figures come from, is the Gaza health authorities, which are Hamas. Hamas are giving how many are killed. But they said that they're 50% sure of the numbers of women and children, but they're not sure of the other 50%. They're saying something like, was it 14,000 children, 9,000 women? Something, maybe the figures are in the papers anyway. But what's the definition of a child for a Palestinian? 18 years old. That's it's the definition of a child in Gaza, the Palestinians. So every body they see of a teenager around 18 is going to be put down as a child. So what are the true figures? There's something else missing from all of this death. Not one Hamas warrior was named as being killed. Now, the Hamas terrorists have thrown their uniforms aside so they could mingle with the civilians. I believe that's a war crime, by the way. I believe, but you can check that. So let's just say there's 5 Hamas terrorists in a building over there, and Israelis, the IDF, kill them. Excuse me. What are they going to be put down as? Terrorists attacking Israel or poor Palestinian civilians? They're in civvy clothes. How are they going to be recognized? I remember the leader of Hamas was asked how many Hamas terrorists have been killed so far, and his answer was very quick. I don't know. So these figures of 30-odd thousand, maybe 25,000 are Hamas terrorists. After all, the IDF are meant to be one of the best armies in the world. They can't be missing them all. And let me put this straight right now. I think this war is horrible. Terrible. The death of a Palestinian, the death of a Jew is one death too many. But what can Israel do? Should they stop now and allow, it's been promised by the leaders, we are going to repeat October the 7th again and again and again. That's a promise on public television, and you can even watch it on YouTube, the leader saying that. What should Israel do? What would England do if the equivalent to 50,000 of their citizens, civilians, were slaughtered? What would they do? And the people who did it say, hey, England, we're coming back again and again and again and again. They would hunt them out and kill them. The difference with Hamas, as I've said, they're wearing civilian clothes and walking around the street with a civilian with a gun in their pocket. And once they pull it out, if Israel don't get them, they'll go into hiding. But none of the innocent Palestinians are allowed to shelter in the tunnels. My opinion is this war is horrible, disgusting. But who started it? October the 6th. If October the 7th was the same as October the 6th, there would be not one death. Not one. Let me say it again. If October the 7th was the same as October the 6th, there would be no war. Argue what you want. Argue what you want. Never mind the students, all their free Palestine, all this stuff. They sort of ban the bomb, and then next week it'll be something else. And that's what students do, don't they? But what they are doing and the harm they're doing, they're not adding to anything in Israel and Gaza and the war. Nothing's been achieved by all this nonsense, except one thing. They're spreading the hatred of Jews. Why? Years ago on radio, I used to joke and say there's a traffic light out in Marbella. It's Israel's fault. It was a joke, but Israel got blamed for everything, and Jews get blamed. Why? My grandson Jaden was in the car with me earlier and said, Grandpa, why do people hate Jews? He's 13. And my answer to him was, I don't know. Is it jealousy? Is it inbred hatred? Is it because people were inbred to believe that the Jews killed Jesus? Jesus, a Jewish boy? I don't know. The only thing I want for the Palestinians, for the Israelis, is peace. Two-state solution? Not possible at the moment. Not possible. How? You can't. Well, you can have Hamas as the leaders of one state and Israel here. It's peace you want. Then work out what to do. Get rid of the terrorists. You know, the IRA surrendered. They handed in their arms. They decommissioned them. And peace came about. If Hamas cared about the Palestinians, I don't think they'd give a crap about them. But if they cared about them as leaders, a long time ago, A long time ago, they would have handed in their weapons and that would have been it. They would have surrendered and it would be over. Anyway, I started off about being my life as a Jew, and honestly, I pray, and I pray for peace every single day. So I wish you all peace. Catch you up another time.